Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 263. Let's see who shows up. It's cool, the old Garen Hecarim Katarina. It's like going right back to foundations, huh? It's so interesting little set. I'm tempted to just come over and take the Katarina. As far as these card pools go, from like just a raw power level standpoint, the Garen's probably the best. This Demacian Steel card pool, it's fine. It's kind of tier three, and then if things really come together, it can kind of push up into tier two and tier one. But the big thing with Demacian Steel is that it kind of depends on how the build arounds fall. If you're blessed with a bunch of Vanguard Bannermen, then great, you're well on your way. Otherwise, you kind of need to find some battlesmiths and some reinforcements to really power up the elites theme. So it's reasonable. It's just kind of boring. Would be kind of like what a just kind of like a starter deck expedition deck would be. Where if you're new to Runeterra or new to expedition, you can pretty easily just take every Demacian Steel pack that you see and kind of be like right on your way with kind of understand getting yourself an opportunity to find out how the game works and understand some of the various themes and such. It's just not too much has actually changed with this pool since the release of Foundations, and so I feel like a lot of my Garen videos are just good. If you just want to search my channel for elites, you should get a pretty good representation of how to draft this Garen. And so over here with this Hecarim, he used to be like a real powerhouse. I don't really like this theme anymore. The Ephemerals theme is just kind of lacking. As far as Shadows and Dust go, it's a very good pool if you're able to build around the Z half, but I don't really like building around Ephemerals. In ancient times of like 6 months ago, we did like to, draft around the Hecarim. We would play these decks to where you would add a bunch of copies to Hecarim to your hand, and then from like turn 6 forward, you would just play a Hecarim every turn. It's a little bit tougher to pull this strategy off, and it's just not quite as powerful as it used to be. So we're going to start with this Relentless Katarina. It's one of my favorite card pools, and it's beginning with one of the build-arounds in the Legion Marauder right from the start. And so let's get her pulled up. We'll talk about this a little bit more. Getting this pulled up on ftpbus.com. It's my expedition-related site out here on the interwebs. It is where we keep the tier list up to date. The text version is up to date for the 2.1 and the 2.2 patch. The image version up here as well, and then also, if your jam is the video version, that is on the guide section or also on the YouTube page. And so, we keep everything here. Today we're just going to be over in the Expedition Helper section. We're going to go to the little drop-down box, scroll down to Katarina, and this is going to list all of the cards that are in this pool. And so, kind of in general, my problem in the sense of Katarina is that you can't really build around her. Right, she's too expensive. It says that she costs 3 mana, but she realistically costs like 7 or 8 mana. You can't, kind of like the classic play I like to bring up every time in regards to Katarina is like, when you first started playing Magic or Hearthstone or Yu-Gi-Oh, or, you can even lump Runeterra in there. But, you put together these kind of like burn decks to where, you've got a lightning bolt in it and you play lightning bolt to your opponent's face on the first turn, and it seems good at the time, but as you get a little bit more experienced, you find out that that is actually not a good play. That taking your opponent from 20 to 17 is much less important than taking them from 3 to 0, and so that spell is often better used on one of your opponent's units, and that's kind of very much how we feel about Katarina. Is if we're playing her on turn 3 and just attacking for the 3 damage and maybe using the Blade's Edge on something, that's not like a very good use of your mana. And so we tend to say that she costs like 7 or 8 mana, since you'll be playing her later in the game, and then she really comes into in her final form once you're able to play her multiple times in the same turn and get multiple rallies out of her. And so, she's not a particularly good early game play. If it's going to be something that we're not going to play until turn 7 or turn 8 or turn 9, then we don't really want multiple copies of her anyways. Her flip card's not very good. And so, it's a card that we usually just use as a support champion, and we're going to look to draft around someone else. But in general, this strategy here is pretty reasonable. This is a card pool centered on attacking a bunch of times in the same turn, so you can use Legion Drummer to give multiple units quick attack. You can, of course, attack with a bunch of Legion Marauders. If you're attacking with Saboteurs twice, you get this 1 damage effect multiple times. And so, we're really just looking for ways to take some kind of advantage out of attacking a bunch of times. This pairs up with Quinn. The kind of idea there is that we're going to be doing a bunch of attacking with Scout units. But we can also do that over here in build and Noxus with things like Shunpo. We can do that with Katarina. We can do this in Bilgewater to a lesser degree with whatever the Fizz-based Relentless Pursuit is. I've never actually played it. I don't know if I've even actually seen it in Expedition, but there's some other ways to get some rallies going. And so what we typically look at to get out of this pool is, some kind of combo with Legion Drummer. We typically look to stack a bunch of Legion Drummers, then hopefully get some other challengers. That's kind of the big interaction that we'll find out of the Demacia half of this pool, or some kind of way to just really stack up and attack with a bunch of Legion Marauders. So, as far as this card pool goes, it does have, a little bit of everything. It doesn't have any, real concentrations of good cards. It's only got, one 1-drop, one 2-drop, one 3-drop, if you don't want to count Reckless Trifarian as a card we want to play. So we aren't seeing something like the Diana pool where it's just like a complete big stack of 1, 2s, and 3s. And then it also has, reasonable removal spells. It has, the Whirling Death and the Calling Strike, and then it has Great Epics and Kato the Arm, Wild Claws, Battering Ram. And so, it's a pretty, average port across the pool, a pretty average pool across the board, we should say, in that it doesn't really lack in anything, but it also isn't particularly strong in anything. And so a lot of this is going to depend on what we're able to actually get her paired up with, but, it's a good start with the Legion Marauder. Okay, and then we do find the partner pairing in Quinn. Quinn is getting the multiple attacks thing going mostly via scouts, but it's a pretty reasonable choice here. Enlightenment Trundle doesn't really play to the theme of what we're trying to pull off. This Enlightenment Trundle is centered around playing a bunch of ramp spells. You can see with Faces of the Old Ones and Wolf Rider, these are trying to give you extra mana gems so that you can get to 10 mana faster. It's not an ability, a theme that plays particularly well with Katarina. And then over here, the Smash and Grab Twisted Fate. This is the 2-cost cards matters theme, which I don't think will play particularly well either. It does, start out with Jaw Hunters, which would play well with our Legion Drummers if we're able to piece them together. But given the chance to just put the partner pairing of Quinn together with Katarina, I think that's what we're going to have the most success with here. So let me get this Quinn pulled up as well. This one does lack some of the scout cards as we would see in Scouted Out. So here, it has Green Fang Warden and Challenger Bird, but it doesn't have the one that makes bears, whatever the rare one is called. And so it's a little bit lacking, but it does make up for it in other ways. It starts out really strongly with this War Chefs, and so we do have the 2 ultra powerful support 2-drops, and so this gives us a good line into the 2s. The Blinding Assault plays pretty well with both of those. But the problem here is that it doesn't have a whole lot of cheap ways to take advantage of attacking multiple times. Like, Genvivi, Cethria, the Grand Plaza, these cards are all extremely strong if we can attack twice, but these cards are all also epic. And so, we can realistically try and make something work here. This does, have the cheap rally in Relentless Pursuit, but we're going to need to pick up some wild picks if we're really going to pick up our challengers. And so that's usually where, the kind of the high roll aspect of this deck comes together is, we have really good 2-drops and the Chefs and the Legion Drummer. We have good 3s in Green Fang Warden, Loyal Badger Bear, the Legion Marauder out of Noxus. There was all kinds of very good epics from Katarina, all kinds of very good epics here in Quinn. Katarina had great removal spells. Quinn doesn't have the removal spells, but there is back-to-back. You can kind of find, if the Scouted Out pools show up, you can get riposts. But, the kind of the big place we're lacking are the cards that, we're specifically looking for to really kick off these combos, and that is the challengers. And so, you can give things to Challenger with On Guard. We can use Confront, but we're really looking for, the 1-cost Bird and Laurent Proteges, even Laurent Duelist to give something else Challenger. That's going to be the big weakness that we're trying to fill in as far as this card pool is concerned. So we're going to take the Quinn. I would, kind of like to focus on the Noxus half of this. I'd really like it if we're starting out with Legion Marauders, if we were able to pick up a handful of them. So if we could get 3 Legion Marauders, that would be pretty fantastic. But we'll see how that plays out. We're going to be taking this Relentless pack to start with. I would kind of like to pick up single combats, but I don't feel like we're really hurting for removal spells. And then I don't want the Targon cards. There's not a whole lot of themes that play too well here. Sure, it would be pretty sweet to strike with a Mountain Goat twice, but I think the thing I'm really looking to go out of my way for is challengers. and that's not what we're going to get out of Targon. So let's go ahead and pick up the Saboteur pack here. Okay, well, I'm not going to pass a Concerted Strike. This is just way too good. We'll see if we can mess this up at some point where we use a Concerted Strike with the Katarina and have her strike and return to our hands. But, you know, this really fills in the top end that we'd be hurting for. Concerted Strike, just the all-around great removal spell. Back-to-back, a great late-game combat trick. And so we are passing on a Relentless Pursuit. We would like to pick up one at some point, but we want a little bit better set of cards. These removal spells are just a little bit more important. Okay, here I am going to take this removal spell in the Strafing Strife with the Screeching Dragon. This is going to be our kind of top end of choice if we can't find epics, and so we'll probably end up with 3 Quinns, so we don't need to search for too much top end. But the Screeching Dragon is probably where we'll fall. We would rather be playing things like Kato the Arm or Gen Vivi, but we can't count on epics to show up. So removal spell with him should be okay. And here we're getting a Scout with a good 3-drop, and Senna plays well with the Challenger themes. We may not necessarily find ways to directly give her Challenger, but if we can, works out extremely well. Okay, tough. It's like the 2 things I called out that I was specifically looking for show up in the same pack. So we want, both Legion Marauder and we want Fleet Feather Tracker. Given that we haven't seen any Legion Drummers or seen any War Chefs, I'm going to just go ahead and take the Marauder. I'm not really a huge fan of Confront, but we have some quick attacks up to this point, and so we can probably find some usage out of this. Okay. Interesting little set. I think, our curve is getting pretty out of hand here. We have so many 3-drops, but I don't think we need any top end. If we come up with another Stalking Broodmother, I'll be okay with it, but it's not something we need to go out of our way to find. I'm just going to take the Egghead Researcher with the On Guard. Scorched Earth isn't an effect that we're really looking for here. I would rather have Whirling Death. I would rather have the Calling Strike. It's just not an ultra high powered card. Gotta fill in some of these early plays. Oh boy, we're getting all the confronts. But here I want the Blinding Assault. This is gonna, does fill in the Challenger slot and the Scout slot. It's something that we're really hurting for. And we are starting to struggle here. It's just we can't find those very specific 2s that we were looking for. But this is a 2-drop in the Hopeful. I really don't like these Trifarian Shield Breakers, but this pack is all around pretty garbage. Apprehend is bad even if you have Darius. Wrathful Rider is pretty tough to get working if you aren't playing Reforges. And then we don't need these 1-mana combat tricks here. These aren't even the good ones. We have 1 Ranger's Resolve. We would rather have Radiant Strikes or Elixir of Wraths. Okay. This one is reasonably close. I am a pretty big fan of Bright Steel Protector in this style of deck. If we're able to get multiple attacks out of the Legion Marauder, then he's just going to keep powering up. But he's pretty weak early on, and so Bright Steel Protector plays well with this. It can come down and protect a Saboteur, so it can get a good early attack in. The barrier effect plays extremely well with Challengers. I think that's who we're going to want here. I do feel kind of bad about passing on a Concerted Strike single combat, but we have one of each of these. We have the Dragon version and 1 Concerted Strike, so we are at least picking up an interactive unit when we take the Dragon here. So with these, we're getting some Challengers in Cytheria. I think that's where we're going to have to go with this. I'm not real excited about either of these combat tricks. They're fine, but not exciting. We don't need On Guards. We already have 1 and 2 Confronts, so I think we're just kind of stuck taking the units here. Okay, well here's a single combat I will take. This is another pretty weak set. We don't need the Broodmothers now. We have 2 Dragons, Quinn, Shieldbreaker. Our top end is looking good. We have the, who are you called? The Egghead Researcher to make a dragon. We have Katarina as a big 7 or 8 drop. We just don't need to pick this up at this point. So I'm just going to take the Prismatic Barrier in the single combat. Just a good combat trick and a good removal spell. Okay, and here's one of the premier combat tricks. We got one of the good tricks with a Scout unit. We do need to pick up these Scouts if we're ever going to try to level up our Quinn. And so this is going to be kind of as good as it gets here. Okay, and then just trading out Confront. I'm not excited about 3 Screeching Dragons, but Confront is just not a very good card that we're pretty happy to get rid of. Okay, okay. It didn't come together quite as well as I wanted, but I think we have the good base for a pretty decent deck here. And so to kind of level up our deck, we do need to go and turn something premium. I'm kind of leaning towards the Screeching Dragon. Let me see if there's anything else we're missing here. I'm pretty sure the Saboteur is leveled up. You are rare. I know the Egghead Researcher is leveled up. I think I might have leveled up Green Fang Warden. Pretty sure Badger Bear is leveled up. So let's take a peek at Screeching Dragon here. Let's see. He's a very good candidate for becoming premium. Where are you at? Down here in the fives. Oh, he's already leveled up. I'm pretty sure we did the Researcher. Oh man, we're gonna have to go back. Get in here. Go to the bathroom and come back while we figure this out. So you're leveled up. I don't want to do Shield Breaker. Concerted Strike's fine. We could do the Silverwing Vanguard. I'm pretty sure that's not leveled up. Could level up Senna. Prefer to level up Senna in some kind of Lucian run, but you can't always get that. So let's. Oh, you're rare. It's all right. So let's check on Senna. And we'll check on Bright Steel Protector. These are both very powerful cards. Bright Steel Protector's ready to go. Oh, Senna's rare. Okay. So Bright Steel Protector it is. Boom. All right. Off to battle we go. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Some kind of new update came out. Whatever that was. I don't know if I saw this or not, but the big thing here is the set comes out on March the 3rd. So we've got a couple weeks before that happens. And then also of note, I don't know what the Champion Mastery thing is. I'll have to wait and get some more notes on that to see what's going on. And the patch notes, the 2.2 patch notes are up to date on the site. So, all right, I think we're ready to go now. Let's see if a bunch of people are updating at the same time, and it makes us wait before it allows us to find a game. Everybody's out there updating. But no, this deck, I mean, it came together okay. Really wish we had some of the cheaper challengers, and I wish we had some more scouts, but I think we took every scout that we saw minus the big dragon, and so to that degree, I mean, we tried. What more do you want to say about it? We tried, and so I think this is a reasonable start. We got a 2/3, 2-drop into a 3-drop curve. Drawing Sharp Sight is big, help us protect our Legion Marauder, and then I wanted to hang on to the removal spell, just so we have some interaction here. But, all right, good stuff. All the combat tricks to make this Marauder good. Let me just draw the actual infinite drop dragon and Cadridgen. Yeah, as you can also see here, the cards are updated with the new little Demacia, whatever faction you are, indicator. A lot of people on the Reddit's bitching about that. I think it's fine. I think it looks pretty reasonable. Here, I think we're okay to get this Katarina in. It's pretty tough for him to play a unit that interacts favorably with our Legion Marauder. So I feel like this is pretty safe to go ahead and get in, and then we can start trying to get Katarina in next turn. The scary play from this standpoint is if he wants to try to Brittle Steel our Katarina, at which point we can just Sharp Sight her. That's not going to do what you want.
Violence solves everything.
Okay, and I'm not going to play the Blade's Edge. I want to keep that spell mana banked up, so if we have this humongous pile of combat tricks here. So we'll see what happens. I'm okay with just taking damage from this thing, and then if we want, we can play Quinn here. Next turn, we can attack with the Quinn Bird and start playing back-to-backs, which is a pretty powerful line. We can also try to do something with Katarina on the following turn as well. Okay, yeah, we're just going to have to ignore this unit.
Demacian needs heroes.
We can get in a pretty big combat next turn. This is pretty whatever amount of damage.
Steady aim.
Okay. We can protect her again if we need to with the sharp sight.
Stay back.
If he has the +3/+4, it's kind of unfortunate, but other than that, this is pretty okay. He wants to spend a harsh winds here as well. That's very good for us. He's got all the tricks. So we can't protect our Quinn. Can't take this thing down, so let's at least do this. We'll protect our Quinn bird and then take this thing down on the backside of combat.
Follow the tracks. Come on, boys. Our land.
Okay, okay. Getting to where we should be starting to have some pretty scary attacks with Katarina. On guarding everything as well. It's not the worst thing we could be doing.
In the War Mother's name. No going back. Pain is nothing.
Okay, so moderately awkward, but we do have the strafing strike to protect our Katarina with. Or we can just prismatic barrier her if that's what we prefer to do.
Don't let my size fool you.
And this is when he attacks, right? So it's not going to not going to be worthwhile to spin the strafing strike. The next turn we can also just attack with this, and then he'll be bigger than Sejuani. So let's start with an open. This is again a horrible block onto Katarina. This is a straight value attack into his Sejuani. Okay. I'm going to say this is going to be pretty tough to recover from. Good deal, good deal. Alright, then intending on taking the Quinns here, but I'm not opposed to branching off into another champion, if it was like Lucian. Just one of the premier early game champions. As it stands, you know, I don't want to be stacking Katarinas. We got a War Chefs and a combat trick out of this. Looks like a pretty good Quinn stack here. Now if we could just pick up like 3 more Challenger birds, another War Chefs, 2 Legion drummers, and some scouts. I have all the cards I want. Interesting. Is this full Ionia, or did he have another faction? It's all Ionia. Have to assume that we're just going to be running into scouts, or not into scouts, that's what we're playing, running into elusives here, which we don't really have a lot of good interaction with. I wanted to hang on to the Ranger's Resolve because they tend to play like a lot of those, like the 2/1s, and then they'll play the like the Navori Blade Scout, or they'll play an Inspired Mentor and level up something else. Like it tends to be decks that can kind of like go wide after they've kind of spent the initial value out of their units. So with this, I think I want to get the Saboteur and the Protector down. I think that we can get ourselves in a spot to where we can attack with everything, and he's not going to have a particularly good block. Not the case against this thing, but we can still like get ourselves out of this with Ranger's Resolve. I don't quite think that's worth it. Maybe it is, just protecting the unit so that we have an on-guard play in the future. I kind of dig. Right, because at best he's just going to have like another unit here. Quinn was a big pickup.
These are dangerous
Yep,
lands.
don't care about that thing. It's tough. I mean, we want to like have access to any of these spells next turn, and we can't play our Badger Bear. I think we need the spells.
Strike for the balance.
Just the thing that's awkward is we're going to play like Quinn Bird, and then she's not going to have, you know, good hooks into anything. We can't get 2 hooks with Quinn Bird.
Nothing gets between me and my mark.
But I mean, we can on guard now, hook something with Quinn, and then make a War Chefs onto Valor thing. Well, Valor's still going to die in that case. Alright, something's up. We have the opportunity to attack with Quinn into something, but I want to see... seems like he probably just wants to protect his Kinku Lifeblade, right? And so I'll wait till we can get our second attack in here. I want Quinn to be able to flip next turn on our next attack token. So we need to get 2 attacks in this turn. It would look like a pretty juicy open to where we on guard and take down both of his units, but something's up here. Something is awry. I think what he was wanting to do was to you know, play a bunch of combat tricks onto the Kinku Lifeblade. So that's why I hooked the Scout Snapper. Seems like he wants to use this multiple times this turn, right? Because it's clearly the better unit here. It's just so suspect when he's not playing any cards. Valor! Now maybe he'll tap out for a Jeweled Protector. How sick would that be? Okay, so I think we're stuck making an on-guard play. I kind of think we just can't attack with Quinn.
Batter 'em!
So we attack with Quinn, but we're not hooking with Quinn. Do something like this.
Patience makes perfect.
Can't fight on an empty stomach.
Okay.
Rivet. My duty's done.
They cannot strike.
All the life blades.
See.
Okay. Okay. Always good against people playing elusives.
I go unseen.
How in a hurry are we to deal with this? I think this is probably pretty safe, right? He's going to have 2 tricks for this to be good. Yeah, it's like a homecoming or something that sucks, but it was going to suck anyways. He's going to be able to counter our Quinn play either way. But the big thing with this is it survives the +3. So if he has another Twin Disciplines, our Quinn can basically survive every Ionia combat trick. Cool. At least the juicy thing here is if he does want to play like Will of Ionia on Quinn, we'll get another Valor once we replay her.
Where there is life, there is hope.
All right, let's see how this plays out. I want to single combat Karma. So if we don't win that, then maybe we'll get a better target for Valor after the fact. I don't think it's too greedy. I think we have to be a little bit greedy here, given our opponent is at 14, so they're pretty healthy, and then they have 2, 4, 6, 7 cards in hand. So it's a little bit more health than I would prefer to be dealing with. Card advantages out of this pretty quick if we give up too much of our board. Okay. We'll take her down eventually, I guess. But the big thing here, our Quinn's gonna flip. He's not gonna be adding any cards to the board. So
Where valor goes, victory follows.
getting a pretty healthy chunk of damage with this one.
Hungry.
Valor!
So, I mean, he has to, if he wants to block next turn, he has to play at least 2 units, right? Because we'll get to attack summon Quinn Bird. That's gonna hook something. Ooh. Great Horn Companion, big play. Love to see him just play like the Empyrean. Pretty close to just the Empyrean. Alright, what you got, 7? Oh, it must have been a new board. That just reminded me, I went up here to click on his little legend, and somebody had one up here on the top left yesterday. I completely forgot that was
Take your time.
not one of these things. It was an actual board component up here. Must have been one of the new boards. Uh-oh. Dude get mad. Mad. Just drop the toilet in the phone. Drop the toilet in the phone. Drop the phone in the toilet. Okay, at least tapped out here. This is a unfortunate target to have to deal with, but we just have to get in combat with it here if he attacks with it. Okay, so if we open here, Quinn Bird is going to hook this thing way down here on the right, which is exactly what we want. And then if we assume that Jolt Protector is going to block one of our 5s, then we can get in for 2 + 5 + 3, which should be lethal. I think we just have to go for that and hope for the best.
Feel the sizzle.
Right, so if he blocks a 5, it'll put him at -3. He has a lot of ways out of this. He can play a bounce spell, or he can play a the barrier lifesteal card. But I think this gives us the, you know, we're beyond trying to play around those cards. This gives us a win now, unless he has very specific things. If this game comes down to him, you know, surviving multiple turns of gigantic tasty Feyfolk, then we're just gonna lose. Yeah,
You're strange.
that's awful. Okay, we're still in it. We have a block on this thing. Got another Quinn in our hand. Maybe we can pull this off still.
Spark and I will keep
What?
you safe.
What? Why wouldn't you just give it to the Feyfolk? It's like, no, I want you to block my gigantic unit. Oh, he's got a Twin Disciplines now. He almost certainly has a combat trick. I'm sure this game's over.
To Ionia, whatever the cost.
Let's at least make him have it, I guess. We'll put our Great Horn Companion in front of the Feyfolk.
Into the forest.
Such a greedy play. Oh my goodness. Why? Why would you do that?
Demacian needs
Okay.
this. Scouting ahead.
So this will hook Quinn. Or Karma, so he needs... I mean, if he doesn't have a combat trick last turn, he doesn't have one this turn, right?
Leave us alone.
Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to attack with Quinn again.
Run.
But it's not the end of the world, I guess. I think this will have to block Quinn. He's going to have some more cards here, though. This is fine.
Explosives primed.
Very suspect about the just do nothing. But we just got to get all our units down. What else are we going to do? We're going to lose Quinn to the Protector, hopefully take down Karma. Still present a lethal amount of damage. This is, he's stalling on something. What would this be? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? We'd be one short. Okay. If he has a bounce spell now, that's pretty bad. But he's clearly got something, right?
Batter him! As Noxus wills! No
All right.
one goes hungry!
We're getting him in there, regardless of what the card is. Is he had another switcheroo? Okay. Just all the whimsies all the time? Is that all this guy was able to do? Retreat. Okay. Takes him to 1. Alright, well, I'm feeling a little better about this one. I don't feel like we should feel better, but... Alright, we're gonna get our unit back. Maybe we'll play Karma and then double up on his returns. It does, like, the things he's been doing this game kind of showcase my problem with Karma and Expedition. You know, she's clearly had her time to shine and constructed where you're able to really go and take advantage of this effect. But, oh, this will go 2 turns? I had no idea that Whimsy would do that. If you play double Whimsy, it'll last across multiple turns. Wow. But no, like, the spells, like, within Karma's repertoire tend to be, like, Whimsy, Will of Ionia, just... he only had 2 cards left. Just like a bunch of spells that just don't even matter in the sense of, you know, playing them twice. And so you're seeing a lot of value out of this in Constructed, where it's like, well, you know, let's double up on Mystic Shot, or double up on Withering Wail, or double up on Grasp of the Undying, or however you want to go about it that way. But just these things just don't matter in Expedition. You to come back. I want to keep the 1 damage source.
Can you stomach this?
What's the worst that could happen if we take 6 from a combat trick? It could probably go up 8. Oh, it has elusive, so it can't block it anyways. Okay. Right, if he has like Twin Disciplines plus Rush. I guess the big thing would be if he has like Rush plus the new card that gives double strike, but
Eyes bigger!
you're realistically just going to be okay. Pass. I want the space for Quinn Bird to come down and hook Karma. Okay. Against all odds, I think we've... Why is this thing still whimsied? Okay, whatever. Whimsy's not permanent, right? Whimsy's just till the end of the turn. Am I wrong on that? Because things just die whenever you play Whimsy anyways?
Great. Now let's get back out there.
I have to go look it up. That's so strange to me. Let's see. All right, we can get rid of Confront. I don't want these. On Guard's a different story. Since it can affect multiple units, just giving this permanent challenger is not worth 3 mana. And Riposte is very good with these. Like if we're going to Riposte a Blinding Assault, very, very powerful play. No, let me... I got to check on this. Hang on. Cards. Whimsy. Yeah, this round. Transform a follower into a 1/1 this round. It lasted for 3 rounds. Or is it... Oh, is it because the Whimsy effect goes on it, and then the second Whimsy silences away the first Whimsy, and so the second one falls off, but then the unit's still stuck being a 1/1? Something like that? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe you all you World's Magicians can go out there and start playing Humilities and Magic and, and tell us how all this stuff works. Okay. It's been tough. Our deck isn't nearly as streamlined as we'd like it to be. Interesting. Aphelios with Lee Sin. I have to imagine that if you're to the point of the game to where you're playing a bunch of Aphelios spells in the same turn, that you've already won, right? If you have both Aphelios and Lee Sin down and you're playing multiple moon weapons, you've won that game. So I don't think we're too worried about that combo happening.
What's behind ya? We will resist.
Okay.
Damn it!
And here, let's see what he does. We could arguably bank this spell mana for weapon hilt so we could try to use it next turn. I think that's what we'll likely do. We're not going to get a block with this Egghead Researcher. So I think we have to do it this way. Would like to get the attack with the Marauder in, but he's just going to block and we can't combat through that. So let's at least get some value out of this Greenfang Warden. I think ideally what we'll be doing here is okay. Getting in. I assume he's just going to take this damage, or if this gets a block, you know, more than happy for that. But what I assume is going to happen is next turn we're going to offer up the Greenfang Warden trade somewhere. We're going to play Legion Marauder. The following turn we're going to have 3 banked spell mana into this Screeching Dragon. That's how I kind of foresee this playing out. We'll see, might just have to block a little early. The problem here is Pale Cascade. We put Greenfang Warden in front of Mountain Goat and he has Pale Cascade. Sucks. But I guess we have to be okay to just weapon hilt through.
What do we got here?
Gym, 2 Gym, and a Dusk Petal. Alright, so he's just gonna 3 damage spike our Marauder. Okay. It's pretty decent for us now if that's his plan. If we want a Prismatic Barrier through the 3 damage and then hook his Sky Shadows. Can gem up this thing to 5 beforehand, but sounds like a win for us as well.
Crows will have
Okay.
what's left.
Might have been unfortunate to not get the value out of our Dragon Strafing Strike first, but our Dragon Single Combat, but this is okay. Right, because you want to be at full health when you do this so that you get the heal. It's alright, I mean, we're about to start adding a pretty big board. It's tough for Nightfall decks to tango with these big boys. They tend to be more of a go wide strategy, which is strange given what the Skies presented to us.
With a little time,
Play the
I'll have a
Researcher. It'll probably get him to never attack with this Jeweled Protector. And then the idea here is we're gonna Strafing Strike down the flight. Maybe we should just wait on a better unit, because this unit is pretty irrelevant. Okay. So this will survive this now, right? Yes. Did the mathematics and it is good. He had so much time to use that thing though. It's so strange to me. Okay. So what do we feel here? Do we just want to get the Stalking Broodmother going? Again, it should be tough for him to interact with this. Like, the worst thing that would happen though is if we play Broodmother and then he just plays Eclipse Dragon.
No more
What?
hiding. Lunari,
What?
rise.
Okay, I'll take the bait.
bothersome.
Has 2 Dusk Petals, so... Okay. Feels greedy. It's just like being like, "What up? I don't care what you do because I can't do anything. So I'm just gonna play this big monster and hope for the best."
Master yourself.
Ugh.
Your enemy.
Okay, let's see if we can't get the damage onto Lisa.
Their heartbeats
If he plays double Dust Petals, it's unfortunate, but we're at least helping to grind this thing out. Yep. So we could play a second Zenith Blade and this is brutal. I have to play this thing down for the stats, right? He's just gonna Zenith Blade onto Jewel Protector, play the gem to flip his Lee Sin. Oh, we're just dead, aren't we? Yeah. See if he sees it, but we should certainly be dead here. He just has to play a spell, right? He doesn't even have to do anything with Jewel Protector. It's gonna be 16 coming out of Lee Sin. So weird to me. He's playing multiple copies of Aphelios in the clearly has multiple Zenith Blades Lee Sin deck. That's a choice.
I fight with the dragon's fury.
It's just like the actual dream, picking up the multiple the multiple Zenith Blades with Lee Sin. It's choosing not to take advantage of it. That's a strategy. But I don't know what more to say about that. It's a strategy. Okay, moving forward. Good. I don't want these shield breakers picking up a removal spell for it. Very good deal. So that's a pretty easy trade. Bring it, Brittany. Okay. So we can do something like this. I really wish we had more more one drops to pair off with those war chefs, but it's a reasonable curve to be starting with, I guess. It's like that problem start you run into like with support decks, to where you don't have a one drop, you play your support 2, then your opponent plays like a 2/3 and you can't do anything. But not what our opponent has here. Sejuani, Twisted Fate, and Ash.
Warm hearts and hot soups.
Okay, we're just gonna have to bank here. You scared.
We protect these woods as they protect us.
I think this is okay.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
We go.
See how clever he's going to get here. I feel like there's a reasonable world where we take down this Ash. We need to do this with Sharp Sight. If his, let's do it like this. Let's just go ahead and level this guy up. If, oh, hang on, never mind. We don't have the mana to Strafing Strike that out anyways. This will have to be fine. He's going to Flash Freeze here though, right? Yep.
The time is right. Strike now.
Okay.
Oh, where that came from.
I was worried about investing too heavily into these 2-attack units into Ash. We can't really play Screeching Dragons. Technically could. But then once he just swings back into us, then we're kind of set on having to weapon hilt into this. This is okay.
Avarosans, stand together.
And let's take this outside.
Alright, now let's see what we can do to try to wear this stuff down. The big thing is we had a +2 attack with this, so we have a great Quinn Bird into Ash. And then assuming Quinn Bird into Ash fails, we have the follow-up play of Screeching Dragon. I think we should be able to handle her pretty handily here. Question is, like, how greedy do we want to get with Quinn? Because if he's going to have to be spending...
We will take Demacia. Not the first time I've heard that.
Interesting. At 2 mana left. Are we just going to get Brittle Steeled with this? That's a problem. Oh, no, it's not. We can do it like this. I want to get the attack in. That's the first thing that's happening. We can still make scout attacks next turn.
No!
Hand to the face. Eat up, friend. I've carved meat bigger than you.
Okay.
A morsel of regret.
You fought well.
Feels like a Brittle Steel, but we'll see. We'll see. We got all the concerted strikes for this. How do we take so much fucking damage this game? I just realized we were at 9.
Sentinels of light don't fear the dark. Born for conquest.
Okay, then the amount of choices we have here are pretty low.
Stay back.
Let's try to take down this Sejuani. Strike you. Sure, Quinn. Sure, you. Probably just dead here, but we just need to have them to not have cards. Yep.
Demacia does not forget.
It's too
And
much.
neither
Is
do I.
too much utility and not enough units that could do stuff. When you're getting blanked out, where you have like 4 units on the board that can't attack, it's a bit of a struggle to get in there and do things. But you know, that really kind of like highlights the struggles that we ran into with this deck. Like I tried to call out, and as we did, you know, anciently previously in yesteryear, kind of the big focus that we would always make on this deck is you're going to use War Chefs, you're going to use Legion Drummer, and to a lesser extent, you're going to use Brightsteel Protector. Brightsteel Protector doesn't live in these card pools, but he does a similar function. And you're going to use those with the challengers, whether or not that is Blinding Assault. The more ideal challenger is the Challenger Bird, the 1-cost one, so you can play the Challenger Bird on 1 and then one of these good support cards on 2. Or, you know, to a lesser degree, there's the non-existent Laurent Protege. He's the 2/4 for 3 mana challenger. I think he still lives in Shield Wall, but I haven't seen a Laurent Protege in like 6 months. And so if that card still exists, I don't know what the percentage chance to see it is, but I can't remember the last time I saw a Laurent Protege in Expedition. I think it still exists, right? It's supposed to be in one of these Fiora pools. Not in Shield Wall. Are you in? Are you not? Maybe they just completely removed it from Expedition. Duelist, I bet they might have completely removed it from Expedition. But that was kind of, you know, like the real core of the deck is you have your 1 and your 2 and your 1 and, you know, now your 2-drop and Blinding Assault and 3-drop challengers, and then you have these cards to help protect your challengers. And so if you're in a spot to where, you know, you're attacking, you're probably going to have to lose your Legion Drummer, but you're still taking over the board because you have that huge value quick attack challenge. That was kind of like the real core of the deck, right? Where those 3 challenger units, the 2 support units, and then to a lesser degree Brightsteel Protector. And then, you know, once you're able to get that kind of effect rolling, you can kick in your bigger plays, your Legion Marauders. You can try to get some value out of Loyal Badger Bears. You can sit around with the 4-cost Scout unit that gets a bunch of, you know, last breaths into Loyal Badger Bear. You know, that's kind of like the cyclical idea of this deck. And you know, to a lesser degree now, it's moved to having this challenger theme, which is, you know, it kind of has its perks and its downsides. The perks being your combat tricks get a lot better, so things like Riposte that were good with your challengers are extremely good with scouts. Things like Prismatic Barrier are good with both. Things like Back to Back are good with both. The downside being is, you know, there's less chances to hit this this early challenger theme. And so I thought we approached this okay. Like, we didn't see any Legion Drummers throughout the entirety of the trial. We saw 1 Challenger Bird that I think we passed on, the 1-cost one. And, you know, it's just like the early game package that we really like to see with this deck just didn't show up. And so it also, in, you know, kind of years past, it was Lucian instead of Quinn. And so you would get extra value out of things like on guard, you get extra value out of Laurent Duelists because you're able to give both Lucian and Senna Challenger, which is extremely good because they have quick attack. And so it was called Relentless, but, you know, in my mind, it was really just this like quick attack Challenger deck. And you know, how much quick attack plus challenger did we get? Very little. And so I'm not really surprised to see that this trial fell pretty flat, but you know, the general strategy that we are going for didn't show up, but that is the strategy you're looking for here, at least in my mind. Maybe things have changed too much since you know, the foundation style Relentless deck, but you know, if you're able to draft this yourself and on your own, that is the big theme that you're looking for. Is you really care about these early game challengers, so Challenger Bird, Blinding Assault, and then you care about giving those units some kind of combat boost, ideally from Legion Drummer. And so it didn't quite come together here. The cards we were hoping to have show up did not show up. But kind of is what it is. That's the world we live in when it comes to playing expeditions. And so, do keep in mind that's the big thing you're looking for. In much of the same vein that I like to say whenever we're drafting Fiora decks, that you need your kind of backup plan to be Screeching Dragon. I still love Screeching Dragon in these decks. Any of these decks to where we're trying to put in a bunch of combat tricks, a bunch of ways to attack multiple times, a bunch of ways to give this thing quick attack. It all plays very well with Screeching Dragon. And it tends to kind of become your top end of choice. And so, I guess it's kind of my parting words on this strategy. The things that you're really looking to do: Challenger Bird, the 1-cost bird, Blinding Assault at the 2-drop slot, Legion Drummer, and War Chefs. Those are kind of the core of your early game. Your mid game will probably just be Green Fang Wardens and Legion Marauders, however much of this 3-drop package you can find. We should also include Loyal Badger Bear. And then you just want your top end to be Screeching Dragons. After that, if you see a big epic, take it. If you don't, that's the way life goes. And then otherwise, you're just looking for combat tricks and removal spells. The combat tricks you're looking for tend to be the ones that allow you to survive combat. So you're looking at your prismatic barriers, your ripostes, your what's it called? The +2/+2 sharp sight. These are the big ones. If they let you survive combat, then you can attack twice with your scouts. These all tend to play out better than the Noxus-based plus attack only ones. And so you'll certainly place a value on like a riposte over something like a Elixir of Wrath or a Might. And then as far as your removal spells go, just kind of take what you can get. So your Detained, your Concerted Strikes, your Single Combats, your Dragon Single Combats, your Whirling Deaths, your Calling Strikes, you're looking to pick up 3 to 5 of those. But that is it. That's how it goes. I wish we would have had a little bit more successful run, because I do think that this was my favorite card pool in Foundations only. I really like playing Katarina. I'm glad that we did get a couple games in there to really showcase how the power can really come out of these decks with Katarina and some of these supports. Ultimately, just not a super successful run as far as the wins go. But that is going to do it for us today. I don't think we have any rewards. I don't see anything on this screen or on the home screen. So that is going to do it. So I hope you all learned how to be a little more relentless in your lives. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.